Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another True You podcast with me, Paula Burns, Creative Confidence and Visibility Mentor. So, this is a place where we have open discussions to understand who we are in order that we can live our lives to the fullest. And every week, I bring on a special guest who is living their version of their true life. I will say this over and over again every time I do these podcasts is that it doesn't mean that lives are perfect. It just means that we are living the life that we feel that we are in flow for. So we might be on a journey, we might be already there, 90% there, or even 50% there. But the ladies normally that come onto my podcast are talking about their version of their true life. And it's in the hope that you as a listener will be inspired by this story to realize that yours is a journey as well. So I will get straight into it and introduce my guest today. Welcome, Lynette Joseph.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Paula, for that brilliant introduction. And I'm here to share who I am, and I'm really looking forward to having a conversation with you today, Paula. So
Yes,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it as well. Let's just relax and have an amazing conversation because I've said this before. I'm nosy. I suppose that's why I'm a podcast host because I love asking questions. I love learning about other people. I love being inspired by other people as well. So um, let's get into the first question. Tell everyone, what is it that you do?
So I am what you call a self-mastery consultant, and what I do is I help people to step into their true self in who they're supposed to be. Um, So where I come in is what I do is they're normally in a professional job or something, which is what they do during the day. But then what the problem is there is that they're not actually happy in that role because
Mm,
there's more potential in the character in terms of what they're best at doing.
yeah,
So where I come is I help them to transition into that role where they actually want to be, and actually they do something which is it's a solution basically to a problem, to a huge vast people's problem. So they solve a problem, and they need to kind of that transitioning to get into that role, and that's where I come in. I help them to go through that process and get to that place where they're actually um, being that person, sharing the value that they have, which is a gift,
mhm,
by the way. They have a gift that
yeah,
only they truly possess.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's a unique gift. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and I feel that there are more people than not who are going through the motions of that everyday job, and just not really fulfilling who they are. So I feel like that's a big pool of people that are struggling with that. And when I started in business, I was exactly the same, and that's over 22 years ago. And yes, I was doing my 9 to 5 job. I could do that. I had all of the qualifications, all the experience, all of those things,
Mhm.
but I knew I wasn't being fulfilled. And I feel like a lot of my listeners are exactly the same. It's just how can they be fulfilled? And it's taking those steps because it's not just one full step and it gets you there. It's like, how can you change your life to get into the space that you want to be in? So it's a very important job that you're doing there. So so how do you actually do your work? How do you work? Is it a one-on-one? Is it in groups?
I do at the moment. I do one to many,
Hmm.
so group coaching, because that's the way it's going to work best at the moment. I could do one to one,
Yeah,
because some of my clients that I've had to do one to one calls with them just to get them started with certain steps which they need to do. And obviously they've got a significant problem that they're experiencing, so they come to me and I
yeah,
help them to change that behavior in what they could be doing to help it to be better. So
yeah,
I could do one to one, but most probably because of my capacity,
yeah.
one to many is going to probably be the
It's
best thing for
better.
me at the moment.
Exactly. And again, that's one of the important things to remember or to realize is what fits in and what works for you. and then how can you make that work for your clients as well? So that's great. What is it that you love the most about what you do, Lynette?
Well, what I love about what I do is, I mean, my natural ability, which comes into supporting my clients, is that the fact that I can see their potential. So even though the person, let's say they are a bank clerk, let's just say something off the top of my head, I could see huge more potential in what they're doing because obviously if I know the person, I can see more about them and I can see that thing that they're doing. I'm thinking you could be doing that. That's
Yeah,
more, and I see that they're passionate about it as well.
yeah,
And it's something that they normally do on an everyday basis, but they don't see it as something that's significant. They think
no,
that it's just a natural thing that they can do. But I can see the potential in what they can
yeah,
do with it.
yeah,
And the fact that they're passionate about it
mhm,
means that they could sustain that and go with that.
mhm,
It doesn't always mean that they might want to actually do that because obviously they might not see how they're going to be able to do it.
yeah.
But the fact is, they're passionate about doing it, and that's what's going to drive them to do that thing, which is unique. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then they might not be inspired to do the big thing. They might do an element of what you're suggesting. And it's funny that you should say, you can see the potential, because I sometimes say to, people when I'm talking about what I do, a confidence and visibility mentor, is that I see things that other people don't. And it's not, I don't see ghosts or anything like that. It's just, I see, just look at that whole big picture, very similar to you. And then I suppose what I then bring to the table on top of that is the creativity side of things, of how they can show up and how they can promote and communicate themselves in a way that really stands out to their audience. So I like that what you said about you can, seeing that potential, because we can never see that ourselves, can we?
Sorry, say that again.
We can never see that ourselves, the potential of something. It's like not being able to see the wood for the trees.
Definitely, because you can't see the picture if you're in the frame, sort of thing.
No.
It's always the case. Even myself, obviously, I've had mentors that see things in me that I
Yeah.
didn't actually see. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's the same thing.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah, I think that it is one of those things where they need to it's about them kind of taking that pause in what they're doing and obviously paying attention to how they're feeling. And because
Mhm.
how I came to be doing what I'm doing is the fact that I was in a 9 to 5 job. We're talking probably 20 years ago. We're talking this happened, that feeling where I kind of got to Friday, as you do, and on a Friday I could remember thinking because everything was fine, the job was fine, I loved my job. I was working in education, primary education then. But in my gut feeling, I was like, is this it? Is this
Mm.
all there is? I just didn't feel fulfilled or satisfied in myself in doing what I was doing. I thought there's got to be more than this. I
Yes.
wasn't satisfied. So I knew that I had to seek out whatever it was that I was kind of like trying to
Yeah.
figure out, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
about myself. So yeah.
Exactly. And I find as well when you're in corporate, because I come from that background as well, is that you live in your life for Fridays. So it's like, oh, it's Monday again. I can't wait for Friday, and you're just wishing your life away. So the best thing that I realized when I left corporate is that every day was amazing, and I could do what I wanted to on any day. It wasn't just like on the weekends. I couldn't just have lived my life on the weekend. I want to ask you about your childhood. I want to ask you a little bit about the journey of getting to where you are now, because I feel like it's really important to understand, some of the experiences that you had as a child, your personality, that type of thing, and how that has led you to finding this space that you're in. So tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Well, when I think about childhood, obviously my childhood as well. What it is, it's like there's every time when you're a child, there's always a clue about who you're going to be back then in your timeline. There's always a clue back then. And in my childhood, probably the earliest age was probably when I was about 10. I remember it was summertime and me and my siblings, 4 other siblings, I've got 2 brothers, 2 sisters that I
Yeah.
grew up with. We were always like like children that played outside. We used to play outside a lot. You know,
Yeah.
we used to love being out. Every time the sun was out, we was out all the time. And I remember one of my friends that were going on a trip. I think they were going on a coach trip somewhere. And I was like, really like, oh, I'd love to go, you know, but at the time, I don't think my mum could have arranged for us to go.
Mm.
So I remember thinking, right, what could I do to make it happen, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And as a 10-year-old, what I did is I got paper and I think I drew out like 10 tickets for a coach trip and I handwrote them all and designed them all and you know, in my mind, I was going to go on this trip,
Yeah.
whatever trip it was. I imagined going on this trip and I created tickets for a coach trip and everything. So I was always kind of wanting to make it happen. So if I didn't have something, I would create it.
Yeah.
We didn't have toys to play with, and I made like the game Ludo out of cornflakes boxes and
Mm.
I drew it and everything. And yeah, so it was my imagination. It was this a very expressive imagination, and that's what I was like as a child, always creating things and wanting things to happen,
Mm.
and that's what I was like.
Yeah, yeah. And so it naturally brought you to this space where, and that's what happens to us, as a child, we might have all of this creative energy, and then life takes over, and then we start going through the mundane because that's what's expected of us, get a job, work your way through the ranks, do all of that, do the 9 to 5, and then it's like
Mhm.
forgetting about your true qualities, but then your qualities were still there because you did something about it. You realized that you were at a point where I have to do something about this. So so you went through school and what happened then, in terms of your career? What did you sort of do and sort of the jobs that you did to lead you to that?
So I remember probably in my late teens, probably around 18 to 19 years of age. Obviously I was at college, then I left college, and then always in my mind there was always a thing where like you said about doing the normal thing, 9 to 5,
Mm,
do this, do this, do this. But I was never about that. I always thought, oh, there must be something different. I don't really want to be just doing this and doing that. Even when I went to college, I do remember thinking, I don't know, maybe I can go to university, but maybe not. But I don't know if that's for me because what I really wanted to do, actually, in my mind back then, was I wanted to go and make money.
yeah,
So
I
that
was
was the
exactly
entrepreneur.
the same. I was the same.
Yeah, that was the entrepreneurial side in me.
Yeah,
Obviously, I didn't know it then, but I was thinking, oh, I just want to go and make money, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
And then I did like my A levels at art in college. I did my A levels, and then after that, I went on this course, and it was a self-employment course.
Mhm.
And this was something new at the time. That was around in the 80s. It was a new option for young people.
Yeah,
And and as soon as I saw the opportunity, I jumped on it. I just thought, yeah, I'll do that because it's
yeah,
different.
yeah,
And from there, I think the seed was sown in me to think, well, you know, I could have my own business. Because long story short, I went on to create. We had a business, me and a business partner that was on the same course with me, and it was a print business. Um, because I had already made an oath in my mind. I said, I will never do any job as long as it has to have creativity in it. Otherwise, I'm not doing any job like, you know, it
yeah.
hasn't. And so, yeah, we set up our own business, ran that for about 6 years, I think it was. And I started it when I was about 19, 20.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I was quite young. And I'm not going to lie, we grew up fast.
I bet. I
Because
bet.
it was like being catapulted into the world of like it was wasn't the norm. So
No,
I
and
learned a
it was
lot.
so different in those days as well. Not like it is now with social media and the internet and everything. Is like, kids don't know they're born now. It's just so much easier than when we started in business. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
What I call that is it's real back in our day, it was real grafting, proper
yes.
grafting.
Yes, it was. It was. Yeah. You had to pick the phone up. You had to go and see people. You had to have conversations. You had to think about, how are you going to advertise and promote yourself? It wasn't, through how are
Yeah.
you going to find out about you. So, yeah, but yeah, so you, it was baptism of fire then for you.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah. So after you have that business, then what happens
Mm.
next?
Well, obviously, as you grow older as a young person, you change and you evolve as a
Yeah,
person. I think obviously, it lasted until I was probably about 20, 26, 20, 27, nearly 27, I think it was. And me and my business partner parted and went separate ways because life
yeah,
got in the way. Like you say,
yeah,
life gets in the way. She had
especially
a
at
baby.
the age.
My,
Yeah,
my partner had a baby. Well, she had the baby when she was 18 when
yeah,
we started the business. So, and then obviously, it was just tricky,
it's changed. Yeah,
um, emotional stuff going on, that kind of thing. So it was
yeah,
hard as young people. So we just went our separate ways. I think we went to California, both of us, for a break after we folded up the business, and then stayed there for 3 months. And then I came back to England probably. I came back to England on my own and I left her because she had family there. So I came back here.
yeah,
And then I think I was probably went back into print, working for people after that in England for a few years. We're talking like early 90s now. I did that for a little while. Got some skills in that, in print industry. But then still, there was always something in me that just wanted to basically do my own thing because I knew that I had other qualities that weren't being used,
yeah,
other skills that I just
yeah,
wasn't using a lot of.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so, yeah,
And so you sort of like transitioned to it. So even though you started working for another company, you've then started your own business on the side of that to build something else.
but I think I didn't naturally just start a business. What was happening was I was helping other people with things like they wanted me to, I don't know, I did my friend's wedding invitations for her once, designed it for her and all that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
But I was just doing odd bits for people. That's
Yeah,
what was happening.
yeah,
Um, and obviously people knew me as the go-to person. If they wanted me to design something for this, they would
yeah,
come to me to get stuff
yeah,
done. Um, and then later down the line, I had my son, and
yeah.
obviously that changes everything again.
It,
Um,
it does, yeah. So life takes you on a journey, doesn't it? It always does. So you find yourself having to just move through that journey and just keep going, So, so Lynette, was there a time that you felt like you lost your way?
Definitely. I mean, like you said, life has its way of kind of like not giving you knocks, and obviously the road's not always smooth. And what happened? I think it was probably when I was in primary education, my second job in primary education, and then what happened was I had to leave that job because it wasn't really a good environment that was being
Mm,
because the truth of the matter was I'd outgrown that role.
yeah,
And so that was the beginning of me basically just outgrowing it. And the universe was probably telling me, but I didn't know it back then, that,
yeah,
you can't stay here anymore because it's not working, you
yeah,
know. Um, that's why, I believe in that saying when it says when you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same result, it's because sometimes you're in the wrong environment and
yes,
you just need to be out of there.
uh,
And
yeah,
of course, I didn't listen, and I just kind of stayed there. And then eventually, I had to leave it. I was what's the word? I was basically ushered out. They had like a lot of bully tactics going on, and all that sort of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, I left, and then I was unemployed for about I think it was about 2 years. This is like pre-COVID, 2018 to 2019. Yeah, I was unemployed for that time. So in a way, I had like a pre-COVID moment in time.
Mm,
That means that I had time where I was in isolation on my own for quite a bit, and it gave me like huge insight in myself, and I really had to look at the situation and what I needed to do to go forward to make things work for me. And in that time, I think I volunteered to speaking a speaking academy that was online. It was someone that I knew online,
Yeah.
and they needed volunteers to help them to set up the online forum with what they were doing. And for some reason, I just volunteered. I didn't know what they were going to give me to do, but I said, "Oh well, I'll do it, whatever it is you want me to do."
Yeah.
And then they said, "Oh, you can do the designing and the banners and set up the events for us and everything
Yeah.
like that." And
Yeah.
I did that for them. And it was at that point I kind of realized, oh my God, I've got all these skills that I've left dormant. In other
Absolutely.
words, I wasn't using them. And as soon
Mm.
as I started using those skills, I felt better in myself.
Yes. Yeah.
The confidence came back gradually. Um, but it was then that I remembered thinking all of the patterns, when I was down, when I was not feeling good in myself, it's the fact that I wasn't using my skills and that whatever I love doing, it lights me up and it makes me feel a
Mm.
certain way.
Does. I don't
And
think people realize that. It's like we get into a rut and then you don't realize that the reason you're in that rut is because you're not doing what lights you up. You're not sort of tapping into those skills and things, and then the natural skills, not the skills necessarily that we've learned, it's the
that's
natural
right.
things about us. So, yeah. So it was like,
Totally agree.
and what was quite interesting is you saying that you didn't listen. You knew that things weren't right, and you were
Mm.
feeling uncomfortable, and we just don't listen. We just silence it and think, oh well, let's just keep going. Hopefully, it'll get better. And
Exactly.
then you were, like you said, you were pushed. You were ushered out. You were forced out. Um,
Mm.
and sometimes, it's so much better if we can make that decision ourselves to move forward or to take a step in another direction, rather than be pushed and forced, because we waste so much time, don't we, sort of overthinking it.
Definitely. And then that's the problem. I mean, I'm a believer in Christ and
Yeah,
that sort of thing. I'm a
me
believer in
too.
that. And there's such a thing as obedience. If you get like um a gut feeling or something that you know you're supposed to do, and when
Yeah.
you don't do it,
Mm.
you have to know that there's going to be consequences.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's cause and effect, isn't it? This is just obvious.
Definitely.
You're either
Definitely.
it's not good for you, your health, your mental state, all of those things. It's going to affect.
Mm,
So, we hear it all the time. The illnesses that people get is down to a certain lifestyle. There's always a
mm,
reason why things happen. So yeah, we need to listen. We need to listen because we can feel that in ourselves.
mm.
Um, so when you were, how scary was it to sort of live the life that you want to live? Because, we can get the voices in our head that say, oh, try to shut us down and say, oh, you're not so good, or you're not as good enough as you think you are, or whatever, the negative talk. But we can also have people around us that are quite negative. So, and then that can be quite scary then in terms of, shall we do this or shall we not do it? How was that for you in your life? Did you have like support around you, or did you feel like, you had to fight against that?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, when it comes to support, very rare. I mean, there's not many people that I could say that they truly are on board with what I'm doing. Not that they don't support me in any way or form, but what it is, they don't understand that
Understand
the
it?
calling and what I've got, they don't understand it. So because they don't know the big picture of
No.
what I'm doing. They haven't no idea. So even when I say something, it's like to them, there's no response because it's like I'm talking another language.
Yeah, exactly.
So I might as well be talking French. They don't understand what I'm talking about. So you have to be careful who you speak to about your vision because sometimes the very people that you're around, it could be your family, it could be close friends, or they don't all they don't they say things to protect you because they
Yeah.
don't want you to move on because they think, oh, you're going to leave me, things are going to change,
Mhm.
so they might, without knowing it, they say things to protect you.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know um why don't you get a proper job because it will be far easier, because
Yeah.
um you know
Easy is not.
They want to put you in a box.
Yeah, and easy for me, something I've learned is that easy doesn't mean satisfying. It doesn't mean fulfilled. Easy might be just, yeah, just going through the motions, but it doesn't fulfill me. And so, yeah, that might be easy, but I don't want that because that doesn't light me up every day. So, but it's hard to explain that to somebody who is not in that same mindset. So you're absolutely right. And it is being careful about who you surround yourself with, but also seeking out those people as well, so that you're around those people that you can share with, because it's such a great feeling when you can share how you are and that other person gets it. That's such a great feeling to be able to do that. But yes, I can imagine how challenging that is when you talk to people about your dream or your ideas, and it can. And did you find that held you back in any way, or did you just like push through it?
Well, no, definitely it held me back, but I have to push through it. I have no
Mhm.
choice. There's
Yeah,
no other option but to push through it. And just keep, in my mind, I have to just keep expressing who I am. That's it. I
Mhm.
have to just
Yeah,
have to be who I am, and whether people like it or not, I just have to be who I
yeah,
am in and
just have
express
to
who
do
I
it.
am.
Yeah,
You know, and sometimes you just have to. Yes, you have to be wary of certain people that do zap your energy, I call it. They're always trying to, because some people are just chaotic in their way and being, and I'm not going to lie, they make me feel exhausted when I'm around them. I have to
yeah,
not be around them a lot. So
yeah.
I have to be selective, of certain
Mhm.
people,
Yeah.
you know.
And then they're not draining you as well because they're chaotic. I like
Mm,
that people are chaotic, but also they drain you, and then you feel like you haven't got anybody to, you know, fill you, and help you and get that positivity from someone else, but you're just being drained constantly. So that
mm.
can happen.
I think I
Brilliant.
just get like, oh, sorry, Paula.
No, 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 carry on. Yeah.
I think I draw my inspiration and encouragement from like shadow mentors. I got people
Mm,
like Yanla and Van San. I don't know if you know her.
no.
Um, they're like people online, but I follow
Yeah.
their work
Right.
and they in line with what I do. Um, and I just kind of read my Bible and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And that.
Um,
Yeah.
but yes, it would be nice to have like in person, real person that I
Yes.
know,
Yeah. To
like
be.
yourself, like
Oh,
yourself.
yes. Yeah. Well, we're connected now. So, gosh, of
Exactly.
course. Of course. Um, Lynette, it's been absolutely amazing chatting to you, but I'm going to end with a few quick fire questions because these are questions I ask my guest or my guest, and it sort of just ties everything up that we've spoken about. So, do you understand what makes you truly happy?
Definitely. Definitely. I think when it comes to being truly happy, you have to really pay attention to yourself within. You
Mm,
have to focus on your inner world and how you're feeling, how you're being.
mm,
Um, do what truly makes you feel good inside,
yeah,
you know, um, because it's your gut feeling that gives you the signals about what you're doing and how you're feeling about it.
yeah,
And if it's not right, you just got to pay attention. And so when it comes to being truly happy, you just got to be true to yourself.
yeah,
Be honest about what it is you want
yeah,
and go for it.
yeah,
You just got to be honest because you can't live a life where you're performing and and you're just trying to fake whatever it is you're trying to, and it's not true because
yeah,
it will down the line it will reveal itself and
yeah,
you're not going to be a very happy person. So you just
exactly.
have to be true to who you are.
Exactly. So, what is there? Are there any sort of like things that you do to sort of like calm your mind and that it makes you feel like really happy? Like so for me, like little things that I do, like activities and things like that. Being around positive people, contributes to my happiness. being by the sea, being on the beach,
Hmm.
that type of nature, believe it or not. It's so funny because I'm one of these people that is scared of anything that's flying around, right? Any
Oh,
stuff like that. But I absolutely love. I could go in a forest or whatever, and I love that. I love nature. I love being around that. Um,
wow.
so, are there things like that that you sort of like dip into, sort of like that just sort of makes you feel good?
I think I love just listening to music
Yeah,
and I like being outdoors, but I
yeah,
love listening to music
me
throughout
too.
my time, whether it had ups and downs. I
Yeah,
just love listening to music and I love rich conversation with people. Obviously when I make that connection with people, I just love rich conversation. When I say rich conversation, I mean a conversation where I can be myself and I can just talk about anything with that person and they just accept me, you
yeah.
know. And I think with me, the playful side comes out when I'm in that flow. I can just be myself and yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's the reason I asked that question is that, because when you're aware of the things that bring you joy, you will make sure that you gravitate towards those things and you ensure that bits of those things are scattered within your life all the time so that it brings you that joy that you need every day or regularly or whatever. But it's always so important. It's weird because I ask this question with my clients a lot. What makes you happy?
Mm.
What do you love? And sometimes that really floors them because they're like they've forgotten the things that really fill them up and really make them happy. And when you start going further, they realize that they don't include any of that in their life. So once they actually say, "Oh yes, I love doing that," um, then they think, "Oh, hang on, I haven't done that for a while though." And then they're wondering why are they feeling so, so low or whatever. And it's very similar to me. I love music. It's funny you should mention that. I love music, but remember thinking to myself the other day that you know I don't listen to music as much as I should be listening to music, because I can have conversations. My head's always busy with ideas and creative. If you're a creative person as well, so I'm always thinking about different things and I just forget to put. I can't have music on in the background because if there's music on, I'm dancing, I'm singing, so it's not a
Oh,
background thing for me. So yeah, but yeah, it's just remembering to sprinkle those things into your life that you absolutely love. So yeah. Next question is, how are you with getting still to feel emotion?
how am I?
Getting still to feel that inner voice, to feel what it is that you need to do. How are you with that?
That for me is a natural thing. It's a
Mm,
natural thing. Because I think for me, because when I was a child, that was my coping mechanism.
yeah.
I learned to do that, like because obviously my caregivers, they weren't always present.
Mm,
Um, Emotionally, they weren't there. So I was very conscious child when I was younger. So I learned to do that. I learned to sit with my feelings. Maybe I couldn't have, put my finger on what I was feeling, but I learned to sit with
yeah.
my feelings a lot
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
basically I acknowledge them.
Mm,
So yeah, that is a practice for me. And that is one of the things that I do with my clients to help them to make that a way of life so that they can have that intuition in themselves.
yeah. Yeah. I like that. I sort of knew that would be your answer because you did sort of like talk and allude to that anyway. You said earlier as well that you've sort of touched on this, but this is one of the questions I ask anyway. That have you found your tribe, the people around you that support you and get you? And I feel like you answered that earlier, where you said it's hard. You haven't really got that around you. Is that really the case, or have you got a few people, or just the people who
Um,
support you and get you?
I think there's one or two people, but not really. I don't really see them on a regular basis, to be
No.
honest. And It'd be nice to say yes, but there's not very many. But I know that they're there. I know
Yeah,
that they are there. And obviously, if they could help, they would.
yeah,
Or if they, if they had time on their hands and we had time to be together, then it would be good.
yes.
Um, but at the same time, um, yeah, but just like it's just nice to have someone to knock heads with a lot,
Yeah,
about that.
exactly. Okay. And finally, do you love yourself unconditionally?
Definitely, definitely. I think that's a great one because I think what happens with that is that you find that obviously with this world, they kind of like condition you to thinking that, you're loved if you can do this, you're loved if you can have that certification, that kind of thing. And I suppose it's just this world of us being attached to certain things, and if we, I'm thinking about my son, like, had he not got his degree, would I have been okay with it? Yes, I would have been okay with it because at the end of the day,
Yeah, still him.
you got to love them regardless, Um, I think I learned unconditional love from, I've got two cats.
Yeah,
I've got two cats, they're blue Russian cats. But
yeah,
I think I had them when I was going through my darkest moments. When I had King, the oldest cat, when I was unemployed and I was going through my dark moment. But what he did is he helped me to learn to love myself and be kind to myself. And cats are you probably know this with your dog, but cats are very intuitive. They know when you're feeling a certain way. And so he would sit with me. I would read to him and, so
oh,
he helped me to feel to be kind to myself and love myself again and be compassionate with myself. My cat is like a healing um medication for me.
wow.
So I love my cats. I could never be without them.
Love them. I love it. I'm the same with my dog, Milo. I love him to bits. I've only had him for five
Oh,
years. But it feels like I've
oh wow.
been.
Wow.
So he's looking at me now, wanting me to give him more attention. But anyway, Lynette, it's been an absolute joy talking to you today. I've loved it, loved hearing your story, loved hearing your experiences. Where can people find you if they want to find you online? Where's the quickest place for them to find you?
Well, the quickest place I would say is I've got a free community
Mhm.
um group that they can join. But I'd say the first place they can start by stepping into their high value self in 5 minutes. I've got like a link for that. I think I shared that with you.
Yeah. So
But
what?
it's a link. Basically, they
Yeah.
get some feedback on themselves. They fill out like a mini form.
Yeah.
It gives them feedback on themselves, and also it gives me some feedback about them. And obviously, I can see how I can support them with what they need. But yeah, they can start there, I think. But yeah, the community is optional. They're welcome to join the free community as well.
Well, thank you again. Thank you so much for being here. I've been inspired by you. So many aha moments, some similarities in terms of,
Mm.
us as individuals. And I hope that you, the listener, have enjoyed this conversation as well and been inspired. I am going to be back. I'll be back next week with another amazing guest. But in the meantime, keep being the true you. Bye, everyone.